Your toddler lunges and bites their best friend at daycare over a truck, and you are mortified. You apologize to the other parent. The teacher gives you the look. You come home wondering, what is wrong with my child? Here is what no one tells you in that moment. There is probably nothing wrong with your child. There is something very specific happening in their developing brain that most parents misunderstand entirely. And once you understand it, you will know exactly how to respond, and why the most common response actually makes the behavior last longer. First, this is extraordinarily common. Both the American Academy of Pediatrics and 0 to 3, the nation's leading infant and toddler development organization, classify hitting, biting, and physical aggression as developmentally normal between the ages of 1 and 3. Not a sign of a violent temperament, not a reflection of your parenting, not something that will define your child's character. Most children who hit and bite at 18 months have largely stopped by kindergarten without any dramatic intervention. The behavior typically peaks around age 2 to 3 and naturally decreases as one specific thing develops. Language. Your toddler already experiences the full intensity of an adult emotional life. The frustration, the urgency, the outrage when someone takes a truck they had claimed. The full force of a very big inner world, but they do not yet have the words for any of it. And here is what that gap between feeling and language produces inside the developing brain. Developmental researchers call it the language gap, and it is exactly what it sounds like. Between 12 and 30 months, a child's emotional experience is fully adult in its intensity. The frustration of a 2-year-old wanting a toy they cannot have is as real and as overwhelming as any frustration you have ever felt. But their expressive language, the words they actually have available to describe what they are feeling, is running at a tiny fraction of that emotional intensity. They feel everything. They can name almost nothing. Now add one more piece of the picture. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for impulse control, for putting a brake on an action before it happens, is the last brain region to fully mature. It is not done developing until the mid-20s. In a toddler, those brakes are barely wired in. Daniel Siegel, the clinical professor of psychiatry, who developed the whole brain child model, calls this the downstairs brain taking over, the emotional reactive part of the brain flooding the system before the upstairs thinking brain can respond. When your toddler feels an overwhelming surge of frustration, someone grabbed their truck, someone got too close, something felt deeply unfair, the feeling fires instantly and completely. There are no words ready to describe it. There are no brakes available to interrupt it. So the body acts. Think of it like a pressure cooker with no release valve. The heat builds. Without language to let the steam out in words, the body finds another exit. The bite happens. The hit lands. And here is what most parents get completely wrong about how to respond next, and why the most natural reaction often locks the behavior in rather than ending it. Here is why the common responses often backfire. Scolding, timeouts, and stern lectures are designed for a child who can hold cause and effect across time, who understands that I did X, so Y will follow. A toddler in the grip of high emotion cannot do that. Their working memory is also still under construction, so the child who bit is sitting in a corner with no understanding of why. And the next time the frustration spikes, the exact same sequence plays out. There is also the issue of attention. When a toddler bites and gets a dramatic reaction, gasps, raised voices, every adult in the room suddenly focused entirely on them, they have just discovered the most reliable way to summon your complete presence. Even negative attention is attention. The cycle locks in. What the research points toward instead is intercepting the sequence earlier, before the body acts. That means recognizing the signs when they appear. The jaw tightening, the hands grabbing, the shoulders rising, the breathing changing. That is the moment to move in, not after. One strategy. Developmental researchers and therapists call it sportscasting. Narrating the emotion out loud for the child before the body can act on it. When you see the signs building, you wanted that truck and Marcus took it, that felt so frustrating. You name the feeling, you give it a word, not to lecture, to build the vocabulary that over time replaces the physical act. Janet Lansbury, whose parenting approach draws directly from the developmental work of Magda Gerber and 0 to 3, describes this as building the child's emotional lexicon one sportscast at a time. Each named emotion is a new release valve being installed. You are not expecting this to stop the behavior overnight. You are laying the language infrastructure that makes self-regulation possible. The honest hedge, most parents see meaningful change over months, not days. That is not a failure. That is exactly how brain development works. You are doing the long right thing. Back to that daycare bite. Your toddler lunged over a truck, not because something is wrong with them, because they were running a fully adult emotional experience through a brain with almost no impulse breaking and far less language than feeling. The American Academy of Pediatrics and 0 to 3 both frame this as developmentally normal and typically outgrown as language develops. Common responses, scolding, timeouts, dramatic reactions, often lock the cycle in rather than breaking it. Sportscasting the feeling before the body acts builds the emotional vocabulary that eventually replaces aggression. Every child moves through this stage at their own pace. If hitting or biting is escalating, persisting well past age 4, or injuring others, that is always worth a conversation with your pediatrician. That is exactly what they are there for. This is why kids do that. Next episode, we are looking at why a child who seemed completely comfortable at preschool has suddenly become so clingy that they sob every morning at drop-off and Velcro themselves to your leg at home. It is not a step backward. It is not a parenting failure. It is a very specific part of the attachment system doing exactly what it was designed to do. And once you understand it, those mornings shift from heartbreaking to almost reassuring. Subscribe so you are there when it drops.